country road.
Okay, so this is literally the third time I've recorded this particular video, and it's because I've been out for a while, and the reason I have been is because I'm redoing my sound system entirely. I didn't like the way my lapel mic was working and making things sound a little tinny, a little hissy. So I got a new microphone, a Blue Yeti, and getting it to the point where it sounds decent has been more of a technical challenge than I thought it would be. I'm just not inclined that way. So hopefully this works out well. Hopefully the third time's a charm. The second time I wound up recording the entire video with the mute button on the microphone. Let me just make sure. Yeah, the mute button on the microphone was turned on, so no sound happened. Let's see if we can get this going. Thanks y'all for tuning in. This is a video about Alien Covenant, the upcoming movie that Ridley Scott's done on the Alien series. And Ridley Scott is one of my favorite directors. In fact, Blade Runner is one of my favorite movies of all time. And those of you who know me from high school know that that was just a movie I watched over and over and over and over again. And I couldn't get enough of the reading that went along with it. And I'm a big Philip K. Dick fan as well. I actually, with my first book, which was basically based on genetically engineered super soldiers, my first book I sent to Ridley Scott and said, I hear you're making a prequel. Please, this book would be perfect for a prequel to Blade Runner. But I never heard back from him. So anyway, let's keep going with respect to Alien Covenant. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put a link to a few videos here from some super fans who basically feel about Alien the same way I feel about Blade Runner. And they have gone through and done a lot of work to kind of dig out all the potential clues from the things we've seen in trailers, from appearances of Ridley Scott, etc. And I warn you, there are spoilers there, and there might be a little spoiler with what I'm about to say, the insight that I think I've had on this. But they're definitely worth looking at if you don't mind spoilers and you want to get a look at a bit of the background of what's going on with respect to Alien Covenant. But I'm going to go ahead and assume that you guys know the Alien series as well as I do, and that you've seen Prometheus, and that this, therefore, is going to make sense to you when I talk about Alien Covenant and what something Ridley Scott recently said. Well, Ridley Scott appeared at South by Southwest not too long ago, and he was explaining who the real bad guys are in his Alien movies, and he said it's not the aliens, it's the artificial intelligence, the AI. And that a light bulb went off, right? That makes sense with me completely because, I mean, think about it. With Ridley Scott, in his early movies, Mother and Ash, both forms of artificial intelligence from the original 1979 Alien, both of those basically went nuts, haywire, and wound up killing everybody except for one person, Ellen Ripley, almost killed the entire crew of the Nostromo. Both of those were artificial intelligence. Fast forward to Prometheus, same thing. David was not exactly the most stable form of artificial intelligence we've ever seen. He was definitely out for himself. He poisoned Elizabeth's husband, Holloway, and infected him with the black goo. And next thing you know, he's being flamethrowered by Charlize Theron's character. So artificial intelligence and Ridley Scott seem to have a clash, right? He doesn't seem to like artificial intelligence. And Ridley, with you 100% on that one. I'm a Luddite myself. Anyway, what got me going with Prometheus and this next movie when Ridley Scott said that is that I remembered in Prometheus at the very end where the engineer basically comes out of hyperspace. Wayland, Mr. Wayland, David, Elizabeth and a bodyguard are in, and one of the scientists are in the alien spacecraft. They've just awakened the engineer, and Wayland is there to ask him for more life. He doesn't want to die. And the engineer, a scene was cut out where the engineer responds and actually talks to Wayland. And he basically says through David, what have you done that is so great that makes you think you deserve more life? And Wayland's response is, well, look, I'm like you. I'm a creator. I created David in my image so that he would be perfect. So I've created and you've created. That makes us gods, and gods can never die. Well, I'm paraphrasing, right? But basically that's what he says. The next thing you know, the engineer, he pats David on the head lovingly, and then proceeds to rip David's head off and use it as a club to kill Wayland. And I've got a clip of that. Let's go ahead and watch that now really quickly, just 1 or 2 minutes. How about that? You know, and beyond that, almost right out just from that clip alone, you might get the sense that, well, maybe these engineers aren't too keen on artificial intelligence. So the other thing that I noticed or kind of realized was that nowhere in any of the engineer ships that we've seen to date, from Alien to Prometheus, do we see any form of artificial intelligence whatsoever on an alien spacecraft or associated with alien technology, meaning the engineers. The engineers don't seem to have artificial intelligence, at least what we've seen so far. So that kind of made me think, well, you know what? They ripped David's head off. They don't seem to have artificial intelligence themselves. And when you actually do look at their technology, they perfected space travel long before we did. It's almost like this high-tech stuff that's very low-tech in appearance and functionality, almost as if they've learned a lesson somewhere along the way that maybe too much tech is a bad thing, and certainly artificial intelligence might be a very bad thing. Now, that's a wild guess on my part. I have no data to back that up. All I'm going on is what Ridley Scott said at South by Southwest, the observations that I just laid out in front of you in terms of the low-tech appearance of the aliens, of the engineers' advanced technology, and the fact that they don't seem to have any AI themselves. Not necessarily a spoiler, but something interesting, and here's what I'm getting at. I wonder if maybe we'll see a line or two as David's floating through space in the engineer's spacecraft and Shaw is asleep in one of the sleep pods, the engineer's sleep pods. I wonder if he finds out that they really hate artificial intelligence, which in turn explains, and this is a spoiler, turn it off now if you don't want a spoiler, but I wonder if this explains why David decides to bomb the hell out of the engineer planet that they go to when they arrive, killing all the indigenous life form, killing all the engineers as soon as he arrives. That seems to me like it would be a pretty darn good explanation. I haven't heard that yet from any of the people I linked to here. That doesn't mean they haven't thought of that already themselves or some other fan. I just mentioned that because I do like to be first, and maybe I'm first in this case, maybe I'm not. In any case, less than 2 weeks until it premieres on May 19th? I'm going to go see it for sure in the US, and I hope you will too. End transmission. Hey y'all, thanks for watching. Look, now that YouTube is censoring everybody, we all need to work together. So please, click the thumbs up on this video, subscribe to my channel, and do one small thing for me. Share this on social media. Share it on Twitter, Facebook, I don't care which. Every social media thing you're subscribed to, however little you're willing to do, however much. Also consider buying my books. I'm an award-winning author, and you get what you pay for. You'll at least have some enjoyment out of them. I'm not asking for charity. Take a look at my books. All the links are below. Thanks for watching.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain.